Do you ever play the game Mafia?
I know exactly.
I
know the gist of it.
It's literally the same as a card game.
But you know,
It is
at the end of the day, like, I know if I was in it, I'd take it personally. I think you just would.
Yeah.
But it is a game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
There's also an Australian version.
Yeah.
And you
Does that
guys,
get quite spicy?
you guys might like to know this, but the one guy that was on it, I think, is the biggest for it being on TV.
Really?
He's awful. When they go around the circle,
round table,
and like, they got their things on, and they tap him on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So he was like that. And when he got tapped, he went.
Oh, no.
He's in for the camera.
And you were like,
man.
this guy's going to be entertaining.
I feel like...
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Sport, the podcast that goes beneath the surface of sporting heroes, their highs, their lows, and their inspirations from their sporting journeys. I'm Jim Daly.
And I'm Kenzie Benali, and we'll be speaking to Olympians and Paralympians, Premier League winners, England netball roses, rugby stars, and so many more as well, to find out all about everything behind their successes.
Joining us on today's episode, we've got two rugby players that aren't just making strides on the pitch, they're doing the same off it as well with Nottingham Rugby, helping bring smiles and make a positive impact to the young people of Nottingham through the sport of rugby.
Yes, indeed. We are absolutely thrilled to welcome centre Keegan Goss and fellow centre and community coach Michael Green, or more fondly known as Pickle. So good to have you both with us. Welcome to Beyond the Sport. How are you?
Good thing. What an introduction.
Oh.
Wow. We are. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just trying to fight the cold at the moment, but it's freezing outside. But
It is.
It's good to be here. It's warm in here.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that where you have come from. It is definitely a lot nicer in New Zealand, that's for sure.
Shall we just ask Keegan how this is going? Because
Yeah, it's, obviously I've got a cast on. I fractured my hand a couple of weeks ago, so it's go back to the doc in 2 more weeks, and hopefully the cast will come off, and I'll be back for the next league match. So.
and the other guy obviously looks much worse than you do, I'm guessing.
Oh, I wish he did, but he was fine. I'm playing, no drama. So
Oh no, not even worth it.
1-0 to him.
Oh, we're wishing you a speedy recovery.
Yeah, thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you back out there for sure.
Pickle, you're going to get asked, I'm sure you get asked this all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Explain to us where the nickname Pickle came from.
Well, yeah, I do get asked this a lot. Obviously, it's not the usual sort of name to be known as, I guess. But when I was younger, growing up in New Zealand, I was in primary school. Probably was about 6 or 7 years old. Got kicked out of class because I was a little bit cheeky with this other kid. I still remember him to this day. Actually, I don't actually think he knows how it's still stuck with me like this whole time since way back then. But he was outside with me and he was rhyming my name. He went Michael, Mickle, Pickle.
Oh.
And then he started laughing. He was, I'm going to call you Pickle from now on. And so it was a small rural school, so there was only about 100 kids there, not even that. So everybody just caught on to it, and I just went with it. I was went to a high school, similar kids, same kids, and then I just preferred to be called Pickle. From that day on, it's crazy.
And what was his name?
His name was Brent Wood, actually.
Did he have a nickname?
Woody. Not as cool.
It's not as strong.
It didn't stick.
It's not as strong.
Not as good as Pickle.
So it's weird to hear Michael now, but yeah, just kind of got to read the room when I introduce myself to, if you know.
Do you like being called Pickle?
Yeah. Feels normal.
I love that. Do you have a nickname?
Just usually Keegs, to be honest. Like
It's
not as an interesting story. No, it's not.
We like that too. Keegs and Pickle is. We love that. That's amazing. I mean, kind of touched on it already off air, but you know, having spent your childhood in Southern Hemisphere, I mean, a pretty special place to grow up. What was that like for both of you?
Oh, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Nah, it was cool. Like, it was amazing. It's very eye-opening when you come over here, sort of thing. Like, I think back home there is just like so much freedom and just outdoors all the time. Like, obviously, weather's a bit nicer, but it's just more freedom, I think, just to do things.
100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. I was lucky enough I grew up on a farm, so to think like Keegan says, like that freedom. There's so much space to just roam, just do whatever you wanted. Play on the farm with the farm animals, or you know, I was lucky enough to live next door to my cousin's farm as well. So my childhood was blessed. I was very lucky to grow up where I did, and then obviously moving away from it, I guess you sort of realise how special it was, and how lucky we were to grow up in that environment, and obviously the people and the culture is is just second to none. Like,
But you were born in London.
I was born so that's the thing. I was born in London.
Yeah.
So she's a Kiwi. She was from New Zealand. My dad met my dad in London, had me and my sister, and then moved back to New Zealand where my mum's family was, which is.
Wow. And how old were you when you moved back?
I would have been about 6 or 7.
So do you remember growing up in London?
I remember little bits. I remember random memories of going to primary school, and Mum, she got me to learn the violin.
Oh,
so I remember taking the violin, and I think my sister was learning the cello. So I remember like walking to school with the violins and that. I remember going to like football games. I didn't even know what rugby was back then.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. So I didn't really know the sport of rugby or what it was about, and then until I moved to New Zealand. But yeah, I got little snippets of when I grew up. My sister knows a bit more because she's 2 years older, so we always try to pick her brain, like what was it like back then. And
can you still play the cello?
No.
Cello? Was it cello? No,
Violin.
Sorry,
Violin,
you can't play.
No, my sister can't play cello.
No.
Well, it's all worked
Plenty
out
of time
pretty
to
well.
try. Get back into it. You got time.
That's it.
What do you think you took from living in New Zealand? If you look back now as adults, is there anything you think you took from living there, from the lifestyle, from the people?
I'm not too sure. Like,
It's because that's who you are,
Yeah,
it's easy.
I don't know. It's just like it just gives you more appreciation. I reckon. Like I don't know. We're coming over here. Like it's like my old man and mum were just big into the outdoors. Like go fishing and hunting and like play sport. Like I guess you just take that for granted when you then come over here, that you can just go like drive an hour away or like go down to the beach and go fishing and stuff like that. It's just so much more outdoor activities, I think, and like that's just the stuff I love. Yeah.
100%. I think it's like the chillness or like the vibe. I think like just everyone's just so chilled back home, and like coming over here, I guess people sort of can feel that chillness as well, that energy. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it, like just growing up, like almost carefree, almost in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how.
Oh,
it
it's
felt.
a real thing. It's definitely.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
Yeah.
can really feel like the energy. I don't know what it is, but it's just interesting to me that you actually had that experience of kind of spending early years in London, and I mean the contrast of that to New Zealand, I imagine is pretty significant, because it doesn't get more crazy than London.
No, exactly.
But
right.
of course, in 2022, I think, Pickle, you came to Nottingham as a player and a community coach.
Correct.
So I suppose, what was it about Nottingham that drew you to this place, and what have you made of it since you've been here?
Well, I've been on a bit of a journey, I guess, like a rugby journey since leaving. I left New Zealand in 2018, 2019, or after I finished my university studies, and just wanted to travel, see the world, and I guess the best way for me to do that was through rugby. So I actually ended up going to Spain for a bit, because I always wanted to come back to London, because I'd never got to come to visit, because I'd been away for that long, and I didn't really know my dad's side of the family. So I got an opportunity to travel. I guess we went to America first, not rugby related, but with the goal of playing in America at the end. It was more of just like a holiday with my two best mates. Just New Zealanders, we do just go and just, we call it an OE, overseas adventure or whatever, just to gain experience, like travelling. So I did that, and then we decided to come back to London. I must have been about 23 at the time. Finally got to meet my auntie. I've had 2 half sisters and a half brother that I never got to meet.
Wow.
Sort of talked to them on the phone a little bit, but sort of got to reconnect that way. And then I had an agent at the time that got me to Spain, so I played a season in Spain. After that, went back home to New Zealand just to figure out what I wanted to do. Opportunity came to go to Hong Kong, so I went to Hong Kong for 3 years, and then the connection to Nottingham was our coach Craig Hammond was coaching in Hong Kong at the time, and so he moved to Nottingham. And then I guess the rest is history. He rang me up, said, do you want to come play in Nottingham? I said, mate, I'd love to. Get closer to the family, come spend some time over here, which was ultimately probably the goal, just to come this side of it, because New Zealand's so far away. So the goal was to always come this side of the world, and was lucky enough to do it through rugby. And then come in, and I coached in Hong Kong for a bit, but my specialty was the kids like aged 2 to 7 years old. Coached for a company called Rugby Tots. Loved it. Like, there was so much COVID hit, so it was obviously a bit stop-start. But then come over here, and then obviously wanted to continue coaching, so fell into the Nottingham coaching sort of programs and stuff, and sort of never looked back really. So Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. That was really long.
That
so
is
Great.
there's so much
story.
that happened in between, but yeah, we can pick it apart.
As you were saying that, I was thinking like how lovely it is that rugby and sport in general has given you this journey, and I guess like through the podcast we're sort of discovering these kind of these topics, but that's the beauty of sport, isn't it? Like it can give you opportunities to do anything. It's given you a fantastic life and journey already.
100%. Gave me the opportunity to reconnect with family that I probably never would have. If they came and watched me play in London, like they never seen rugby or anything like that. So this was when I first got here, when I wasn't injured. So they came and saw me, and like it was so special, honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is it's amazing. We say it all the time on
Yeah.
Beyond the Sport, but it is exactly that. You
Yeah.
know, through sport, you've been able to reconnect with family, and it's a really special thing. And I guess from your side, Keegs, having Pickle here, was that a real attraction for you to come on over and join him?
Well, I didn't know Pickle prior to coming here, but I did know that there was I think there's 4 or 5 Kiwis in the team, and obviously the head coach is a Kiwi. But my story is sort of similar to Pickle's. Like I went over to Ireland end of 2023, and I played there for half a season, and then I got a contract in Italy. So I went over to Italy for 6 months and played there, and like that was cool experience. There was cool, and then sort of the off season in the summer, I was on the beaches of Sardinia, and then I had Craig there.
Not too bad,
No,
is it?
not too bad.
What a life!
I know.
We're in the wrong
Better than
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
Then just Craig got in touch with me and asked if I'd be keen to come over, and I've got a British passport, so it just made sense as well to come over. And like, much the same as Pickle, like rugby's, I've been able to travel and stuff. Like I still want to push on into professional rugby, but like being able to travel the world and stuff has been amazing, really. Yeah.
For sure. We really are in the wrong industry.
Honestly, I'm just, why didn't I try harder at rugby at school? Why did I not try?
Oh, that's the sport.
I guess as well, being from New Zealand as well, that probably carries that reputation. So when you guys are going to these other countries and other clubs, you know, you're coming from a rugby mad nation as well, so I guess that helps.
Oh mate, I've made teams where I'm probably not being very good, but like as soon as they know that you're from New Zealand, you're like in the starting lineup. So like, especially in Spain though, like Spain was an awesome like opportunity, but yeah, it's just being from New Zealand just carries a certain weight, you know, in terms of the rugby tables, and like it's almost, I wouldn't say there's pressure. It's not like, it's almost like a grateful feeling, like to be able to say that we're from New Zealand, and you know, like that's all we've known growing up was rugby. So
That's
so
the
it
vibe I'm
definitely
getting
works.
from you both, is that kind of like that gratefulness and that gratitude from where you're from and the opportunities
100%.
that's given you.
Why wouldn't you if you were from
true.
somewhere like that?
Very true.
Wow, what a place. Obviously, you both play centre,
Yeah.
so I guess Keys will come to you first. Was that always the position you played, and what players have kind of inspired you throughout your journey so far?
I used to be a fly half, or first five, like growing up, and I was fly half all the way until I was about 18. And in my first 15 team at school, and then they pushed me into the centres. So I always loved fly half. I watched Dan Carter and Bowden Barrett now, and then I just got probably a bit bigger, so they pushed me into the midfield, which is fine, and I love that now.
Yeah.
But like for me, growing up, I probably idolised in the midfield Sonny Bill and Martin Onu. I think they were fantastic players. And that's who I looked up to, yeah.
Pickle's kind of nodding away. Are you sharing that
honestly,
sentiment?
yeah, 100%. So I'd only played centre really throughout my whole, I guess, career. A little bit of wing, sort of trying to push into 12 now a bit more, just because I just fancy just getting a bit closer to the action, I guess. Not as fast as I used to be, so trying to get closer to the scrum, I guess, and that's probably the next best thing is 12. But looking up, like Martin Onu was an idol. The way he played was just powerful, just ruthless, relentless, just always go forward. But then what I liked about him, he developed his skills. Like he had one of the best passing games, but he wasn't known as a passer in the early days, just known as a crash ball runner. But he developed the pass, developed the kick. So being able to like watch him and see him develop through his career was inspiring. And like your Sonny Bill was a freak. He come to rugby union just with the offloads. Like every kid at home just wants to be like Sonny, or you're at school, you're practicing your offloads behind the back. Like he is a freak. So yeah, those two players, you can't go past them as a centre. Yeah.
I also love that Kenzie's really pushing the Keegs nickname as well.
Sorry, I've committed to that.
I think
we're
trying to even it up a bit.
I feel like we
totally fair.
can't do Pickle and not do Keegs.
I completely agree.
We need to make them both feel welcome.
Maybe by the end of the episode, we'll have nicknames as well.
Yeah, call me Kens.
I was
Call
going to
me
say
Kens.
Keegs and Kens.
Yeah,
What
that's
am I going to be
to
then?
it.
Because I can't live up to Pickle. It's just
You know what?
Jim. It's just
Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Your
I
nickname
love
for days,
that.
Jimbo.
Kens and Jimbo.
I'll say that.
I kind of like Kens and Keegs more though for like podcast
brilliant. I'll be
hosts.
doing
So
it.
I feel like you can come host the next one with me. Sounds better.
And I'll go play rugby.
That you don't want.
That's amazing.
Speaking of rugby in Nottingham, like the culture of rugby is obviously growing massively. You guys having a great season. What are your aspirations, I guess, personally and for the city going forward in terms of rugby gigs?
Personally, I just want to be playing professionally. So, like whether that's in the Premiership or in the URC, like that's what I have aspirations for, and I'm still sort of young enough at the moment. So that's my big goal, and like that's what I'm putting a lot of effort into my rugby to try and do that, anyways. But yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you say he said young enough?
I know.
I
know.
Oh, that felt personal.
It stared me in the eyes as well when he said it. Nah, personally, like I just want to get back on the field. Like I've had 2 back-to-back seasons where I've had like season-ending surgeries. So I tore my pec last season when we played Saracens in London. It's literally last pre-season game, and then this season before we played Tigers in the pre-season, I tore my meniscus. So it's just been 2 back-to-back, just brutal, just injuries. So my personal aspiration is to get back as soon as the doc clears me or the physios say that I'm good to go, and then just get as many games as I can. Because I still feel young, to be honest, even though in my brain I do. My body's a bit. It'll get there. Because, your body, if you think you can, your body will follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, that's an injury I will never do. Tearing my pec. That's,
Do you know what? I thought that's what he said. Like, how does that even happen?
That sounds horrible.
The doctor said it was unusual for rugby players to do that type. It's usually bodybuilders. Like, not saying I'm a bodybuilder or anything, but but I literally I think I got like a metal stud like in the right spot of like where my pec attaches to like my bicep. But there was 3 muscles in there, and I ruptured one of them. So luckily, it was the right one to rupture. So he just stitched it back on, and then it was 6 months, and then I was back out. But then the knee happened. So, but the team is honestly the team's going so well. Like aspirations for the team is top 4. Like it's never been done before. We're sitting 4th at the moment, tied 4th, but we're winning on points. So it's been a awesome season to watch, and hopefully I can add some value. Or both of us can add value when we're back.
Yeah, we really hope so. Yeah, we can't wait to see you back out there. And it's an exciting time as well for the city with the netball team. And, it just feels like it's a lot to get excited about at the moment. What is it about Nottingham, do you think, that makes it special?
I don't know.
I love that.
It is like that. They're like Forest are playing. They're unbelievable at the moment.
Yeah.
And then we've just got a really good culture with the rugby team. Like at the moment, I think our coaches have really driven that. We're just very tight, like big family environment. Like all the partners and stuff are so welcome at the club, and
that's really important.
Like the coach will go up and hug the partners after the games and stuff. It's just really personal. I've personally never been at a club where it's been like that, even back home.
Wow.
Like nothing. It's like the most close and tight knit club I've been. I think that's just. When you've got that sort of connection, like, and with the boys, you'll put your body on the line for your mate next to you, and I think that's sort of what's been reflected on the field in our performances, and while we're playing so well, it's just.
I absolutely love that because I grew up with a dad playing football. My husband plays cricket. So to hear about the club taking care of the families really reaches out to me because I know what it feels like to be on the other side. I'm not the player, but I also know how invested I am personally. And sometimes I think that's the secret, right? Like you guys are obviously the athletes and of course you're the most important ones. But if you've got a happy family at home, that makes all the difference. So the fact that your coaches are looking out for the people that mean most to you too is lovely, and it's great that they're doing that.
100%.
I think it's key too because like for us we're sort of part time, so we like a lot of the boys work full time still, and then we train in the evening. So like we spend a lot of time away from loved ones. Like we train 3 nights a week, and that's about 3 hours each night. So we don't get back till like 9 p.m. some nights, and then you go to bed and you're getting up to go to work the next day. So I think. Like building that relationship with the families is like it's just key because then they understand it and they just feel a bit more appreciated too. I think.
Yeah.
I think as well, like if you sport is a balance, isn't it, between the physical and the mental. But I think if you're keeping the players happy and the families happy, then the players will thrive. Surely, if they're feeling like their families are being appreciated, which in turn means that they and their wishes are, then it's only a good springboard to success.
100%. I think that Coach Hamo drives that. Like he's real adamant. Like after a game, he'd make sure that we all stay around in the marquee to have a beer or have some food with your family, but also the fans as well. But we try to get everybody involved in terms of like our ball boys and ball girls now. Like they just love coming to the games, and like we'll bring some of them into the changing rooms. Like it's real special for those kids that like look up to us as well. So
that's amazing.
I love hearing that.
That
That's so nice. It's absolutely how it should be, and it also comes back to you say how committed you are in terms of the time you put into training and playing. I think it makes it easier as well, accepting like, okay, it's fine, you go. Like the coach is a good guy. Like it does all help. It's But actually, as you say, a lot of you are like working as well on the side. You're putting in so much time and effort. How do you handle that juggle? How do you find that? Because it's a lot to take on for yourselves personally.
Yeah, I'm lucky because I do a bit of coaching with Pickle, so I don't really have a full-time job. So my main focus is rugby for me. So it's easy for me, but I know when I was back home, I was sort of doing more of that, like full-time, but training like a full-time athlete as well. And you just have to be organised, really.
100%.
You just have to be organised, and that's all you can do.
That's it. Well, I guess the club's like really helpful in a sense that if for like physios or your appointment slots, they'll work around your schedule.
Yeah.
So that's good. We keep the communication like constant. So like if you need to drop in like if you're running late from work, you just message the physio. If you need to get in a time, he'll see you later. So very flexible, very like adaptable, which helps us not have to stress about those little things. But yeah, it is a lot of effort. It is, but the want and the drive from like we want to do this, we do this for a reason. Like that'll trump any sort of I guess sort of feeling of is it worth it, or like am I putting too much effort in, like because that's just how we were raised, and like the sport
and you can't really
love.
Stop that. That's like, inside you, and you can't.
No. Until you get too old, maybe like 35, 38. But
oh my word!
I've still got 5 years, so.
You got plenty of
years
years
left.
left.
I'm 38 years old. I'm 40 last year, so that's.
But I love that. I feel like that feeling of playing as a privilege and clearly loving what you're doing, and that seems to be a recurring theme. That passion comes across when you play, and I think if you don't love what you're doing, how successful are you going to be, right?
Exactly.
So the fact that the love is clearly there, it makes all of those hardships and difficult times worth
100%
overriding. Says the non-athlete.
It's easy for us to say that.
From what I gather.
Oh, I completely understand. I get that all the time. Yeah.
It's a hard life.
My love is sitting on my bench for my vets team. It's really the same. Tell us about the sessions you're doing with Nottingham Rugby and the 3 Pillars project. And the 3 core pillars are exercise, education, and effective rehabilitation. Sounds fascinating. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so is that for the coaching side of things you're talking about?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so what we're doing basically in terms of that is we're getting into schools. So we're starting up schools programs. We're basically just underpinning it all with the idea of having fun. Like if they're not having fun, then there's no point in sort of trying it. So trying to keep these kids engaged through the education and exercise side of it. We're basically trying to get into as many schools as we can that we're capable of getting into, and just showing them what rugby can offer in terms of like not even in playing the game. Like we'll introduce them to the game, and then later on in life, they might remember a time when we'd coached them, and they might say, oh, I might go down to my rugby club, or be involved with the game in some capacity, not necessarily playing it, but yeah, we're just trying to teach them the fundamentals and big them up.
I think the idea of attaching happiness and enjoyment to the sport is really key, especially for a young age for people. If you attach that early doors, all the rest can come, all the other, the training and all that kind of stuff. I'm a football fan. I've taken my daughter to watch I support Crystal Palace, and I took her to watch.
I'm a Saints fan. I cannot say a thing.
I took her to watch Crystal Palace women against Arsenal women. Again, trying to like push this idea of enjoyment. Unfortunately, we lost 5-0, so the enjoyment wasn't quite there. But I was trying to attach that because I think early doors, Keegs, if you do that, then hopefully if they fall in love with the game, everything else can come. But if the core element isn't the enjoyment, you're never going to... there's no point.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, especially nowadays, like I think the enjoyment factor, like from an early age, is key because, like rugby, in a sense, well, the last few years has sort of been dying off, like, and because of the contact of it, there's more like precautions around head injuries and stuff, and parents are probably more against their child playing rugby because of the contact and stuff. So that if the kids are enjoying it young and the parents can see that, then like that's going to benefit everyone, especially the future of the game.
What was your first experiences like in rugby, Pickle? Do you want to
My
go first?
first experiences in rugby would have been like in the backyard, sort of your bare
Really?
feet type thing, yeah. Just with your mates, go down to the local park and just throw the ball around, really.
So did that begin when you were in New Zealand? Because I know you said you weren't really exposed to the sport here.
Yeah.
So do you think it was just because it's so enormous over there that, you know, it's like a culture, as we said earlier?
100%. It was like you wouldn't even second guess it. Like that was just what everybody would do. If you were bored or you know you've got a group of mates, just want to go out and just throw the ball around. So you can run it straight, so you can tackle the biggest dude. You know, it was just a bit of a You'd put your at that age you'd just put your body anywhere. To be fair, like, but nah, it was just a thing to do. It was fun. Yeah.
What about you, Keith?
Mine was, I first started playing when I was 4.
Really?
And I was always going to play rugby, but my parents said when they first took me to my first few games, I sat on the sideline crying because I didn't want to go out and play. I was just like, it's cold and young and whatnot. But like, I've just always dreamed of being a professional rugby player, and just like always growing up, I played other sports, but it always came back to rugby. And like school lunch times, we'd play rugby even up until I was like 17, 18. There'd be like 10 of us, and we'd every lunch just play rugby at lunchtime. It was we just love it back home, and like it is like a culture of the sport. Yeah.
There's something about playing sports, like ball sports, I think, and I was like footballer, but like rugby and cricket, and you can't explain it to someone that doesn't play sport, but like there's a real like pure wholesome feeling about like throwing the ball or kicking the ball,
Definitely.
and you can't quite explain it to anyone that doesn't play. Like it sort of does something to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I guess if you're around it a lot, just the feeling, it feels so natural and almost a sense of flow. Like it's just, there's something gracious about it, I guess, in a way.
It's amazing,
how I look at it.
On so many levels, because you can make friendships, especially like Keys, you starting at 4, it sounds so young, but actually the things you can learn as a small child at that age is massive from sport. So I love that you got involved so young. So I know you've kind of touched on your aspirations and your dreams for your careers, but it'd be great to hear a bit more about your goals and where you hope your career to go.
Yeah, I guess back home in NZ, I played for the Manawatu Turbos, which is like, it's a professional team. Similar probably to the Champ, but it's like a shorter season, but we're full time, so like you are like a pro rugby player. So I did 2 seasons there, and I loved it, but I wanted to sort of travel, and I sort of wanted to just come over to the side of the world and see if I could have another crack here, because there just naturally is more opportunities over here than NZ. You know, there's only like 10 NPC teams and then 5 Super Rugby teams. So there's not many players, whereas over here there's so many more teams. So yeah.
Pickle, it says here in the script, Keegan, you're just 24. Pickle, you're only 30.
I love that.
I didn't write
Age
the
is
script.
just a number.
I didn't write it. Age is just a number, exactly.
It is.
But I think same question for you. You know, where do your dreams and your hopes for your career?
Yeah, I guess my career, I mean, I feel like I've achieved quite a lot, or tried to achieve quite a lot. Growing up, I went to school in Christchurch. So I went to Christchurch Boys High School, which is basically one of the top schools, if not the top, for producing the most All Blacks.
The factory.
That is the
Wow.
factory.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that what they
It's
say?
literally renowned as a
Literally,
factory.
Wow.
Rugby
Auckland
factory.
Grammar might be, I think, the next.
Or even Hamilton Boys.
Hamilton Boys will be up there.
Love that.
But so I
That's
was
amazing.
fortunate enough. My mum put me into this school with heaps of my mates as well. To be fair, because I come from the country, we all went to school there, And it was always just a dream to go as far as we can, obviously be All Blacks. But within that setup, within the region, they set up academies and stuff. So I was lucky enough to get sort of earmarked to go into the Crusaders Academy. So the Crusaders are like one of the best, I guess, rugby teams in the world. They're just one of the most successful, and just the way they do things is just next level. So I did that. So you go there for about 3 years while you're still at school, and then I got the opportunity to get a scholarship to go to university on rugby. So I went and never thought university was an opportunity for me. Like I don't like books or anything like that, or didn't know what I did, but I wanted to make my mum proud and say like, oh, I'm just going to go. So they did like a sport and recreation degree. So obviously rugby was just naturally drew me to that. So I went there, did that. I've had like sort of my journey was sort of so up and down because of injuries. So I got my first knee injury when I was still at high school. I was like 16 years old, tore my meniscus. So I had surgery then. It was the first ever surgery I've had. Did that, and then had another one on my other knee sort of the next season. And then so it was all right, to be fair. Like I was getting through it, and then went to university. Like my rugby was going really well. And then we came to the final against the club final. So it was our team versus like one of the other best teams in Christchurch. And literally the first 10 minutes broke my ankle. So I got tackled, and he held my ankle, and then just my body just went and my leg stayed there. And it was a horrible injury, but we got through that. So that was when I decided to just sort of leave and just travel, because I spent all of high school, all of university, just I guess chasing the dream that sort of I knew was there, but obviously just my body, just for whatever reason or circumstances, was just unlucky. So decided to get out of there and just like refresh. But then rugby was still always the dream for me. So obviously played rugby in Spain, got to do that, Hong Kong. So I guess my aspiration is now just play as long as I can, just because you don't know when your last game of rugby is. So I want to play 100 games for Nottingham. That'd be an amazing.
All those injuries
achievement.
make Keegan's injury look like nothing really, is it? You know what I mean? Like,
no. Some of us. I have had an injury non-rugby related. I went surfing and I broke my jaw actually.
Oh my
word. Honestly, I think I broke a mirror when I was 7 or something. 7 years bad luck.
Well, hopefully you're at the end of that.
yeah. Hopefully there's no more of that.
Well,
Hopefully that's all done and dusted.
You can't control that, so.
No, you definitely can't.
You can control how you respond, so.
Listen, you're obviously both so enormously passionate about rugby, and it's amazing to hear about your involvement from a playing side of things. But we know that you're heavily involved as well from what you do with the community. So talk to us a bit about that, your role within the community, and I guess how you find that, because that's completely different, isn't it, from playing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I took up the community manager role when I was sort of the end of the first season that I came here. The just opportunity came, Paul, our manager, needed somebody there, and I was like, mate, I love kids, I love coaching, so give it to me. And then, so we have obviously do Nottingham rugby camps, so that was sort of my first bit of tasting when I got here, was because we do holiday camps and that. So what we do is we take kids from 8 to 16, get them down to Lady Bay, get them in the professional environments. We get coaches to come in and just coach them for the day, basically. So we take them through basically the life of a rugby player. So we take them through skills, we help them with the nutrition side of things, we show them the gym, we take them in the gym, we do little workouts, obviously safe workouts in our gym there. So they actually get the whole experience at that age, which is quite inspiring for them, like, because a lot of these kids are so passionate about rugby, and it makes me passionate as well, but they can see it like from a professional like level, like when they're there, and they obviously get like top-notch coaching, so they enjoy that. And then the other side of that was going into schools, so got an opportunity to go into quite a few schools in Nottingham, whether it be in the Rushcliffe area or city schools, which probably don't have much of an opportunity to play rugby. So those are the schools that I love targeting the most, because it reminds me of sort of back home, and those sort of schools that, a bit less fortunate to offer them rugby. So we do that. We work with sort of health and food programs as well to offer sort of physical activity through rugby for their programs. What else do we do? We've got quite a lot in terms of that. We deliver programs through obviously sponsors. We sort of getting into the touch realm now, so touch rugby is going to be massive here. Obviously, what Keegan spoke about earlier with the contact side of it and parents not being too sure, we want to come in and introduce the way that probably we were introduced to rugby at a young age through touch rugby, which is massive in New Zealand. That's what we learned to do when we were 4 years old, whatever. So we're trying to get that into schools just to really show them that that's not all contact, and then hopefully later on that can really get them sort of pushing towards joining a rugby club, because at the end of the day we want them to go to rugby clubs so that they can have that feel, that sense of family, that community, you know, because there's no other community like a rugby community. And yeah, we've just want to try spread rugby throughout Nottingham and surrounding areas.
And I bet the teachers love having you guys in, because none of the naughty kids are going to mess with you, are they?
Well, the teachers go into the classrooms, mate, so
Oh,
they go do their work, because
right,
they know they're safe with us.
Yeah, I love
No,
that.
they do. But it's perfect sport for kids like that. Like, you know, like I was probably one of those kids growing up, you know.
Really?
Then rugby.
What
sort
is
of,
it about rugby
you know,
then that sort of helps kids like that? Or the discipline? Or
100% the discipline. And then I think once they realise that it's not just themselves they're letting down, it's actually the team as well, because obviously it's such a team sport. You can have one superstar, but if you don't work together as a team, then you're not going to get anywhere. So I think that, and yeah, I think just being able to express themselves, like, you know, like not be judged. The rugby, you got a position for everybody, you know, whatever how tall, how short you are, speed, not
so true.
slow or fast. Like, so there's literally a position for everybody when you get to that age. But yeah, we're trying to target the young ones, because like if you can get it in them first, then they're going to hold on to that feeling for hopefully the rest of their life. Like,
100%.
Absolutely.
you know, you've got to get them early.
And you mentioned that there's nothing like a rugby community. So what is it about the sport then that makes it so special? Because I know, Keegs, you were saying you played various sports growing up. Pickle, I imagine you were similar. Yeah. So why is rugby different?
I don't know. It's just, we just, like, obviously, like when you play a game, it's a big, like, it's physical, it's a battle, but I think it also, that sort of just stays out on the field when we come off the field, like everyone comes back together, like you go back into the after match and you sit down with the opposition, have a yarn, nowadays have a beer with them and stuff, and I think you just respect the battle on the field, so then, and like you just, there is just something different about a rugby environment, but yeah, it's cool.
100%. It's hard to pinpoint, eh? It's hard to
like
nail one thing.
I feel like I want to go join a rugby club. I need to experience this.
It's such a thing though, like, because obviously, even it's not just the rugby players. It's obviously the management side of it as well. Like, even down at Lady Bay, we've got the marquee. You've got the ladies behind. We call them the ladies in the kitchen back home. Like, that's just like a saying. Where like they don't have to just be women, but it's like the people that do all the stuff behind the scenes. There's this one lady named Jackie. Now she's like the mother of like the club, I guess. Like, so if anybody's got any troubles or anything, go to her. She'll sort you out. She'll give the boys like free food. Like, don't know if the boss.
Didn't hear that.
She'll literally look after you if you ask for anything. But anybody at the club, like,
like
they'll go like fight hammer and nail to get you what you need to if you need help.
I love that. Big up Jackie.
Yes,
Big up Jackie.
We love
Big
that.
up
We love you, Jackie.
But you know
what
what?
a legend.
I know we joked about me not playing rugby, but I have been to several rugby games and I can feel it from the stands, actually.
Yeah.
That inclusivity, which, I mean, you certainly don't get that at a football match.
No.
But, you know, you don't at all,
No,
do you?
it's not in the same way. Not in the
But
same way.
I love that you can have such a highly competitive sport. Like you say, it could not be more ferocious out there. It looks as though it's like that. Yeah. And then in the stands, you've got this fierce competitiveness still, but as you say, like there's still that level of respect, camaraderie, and you a game finishes and you walk away and shake hands and you have a drink together. Yeah. And it seems as though whether you're on the field or whether you're watching, that seems to be a theme in rugby, which is maybe why it's such a special sport and why it is particularly inclusive. Because
it's respect. It's respect.
It is respect, and like no one really hates each other in rugby as much. Like you'll have rivalries, but like I just know in football you get like teams literally they hate each other.
Intense.
Yeah, and it's like but whereas rugby there's just I think a bit more respect and
a bit more like there's a gentleman aspect of it. Yeah. You know, like we obviously know how much we've gone to battle on the field, and like we're all hurting in the same way, and like, you know, in terms of bodiness and body soreness and that. So
I kind of don't know how you don't take that personally, though. I have to say, I love that you say you leave it all out there. I really feel like someone was charging at me and absolutely belted into me. I'd have a bit of an issue with it. I know that's kind of the point, but I'd literally be like, hang on a minute. There was a bit of interest on that last one. I am not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. Maybe rugby's not for me after all.
You just don't take, because you know it's just part of the game. I think. So
I can remember multiple times I've been hit with like some amazing like tackles. Somebody's tackled me, like split me in half, and I'd get up and be like, "Good shot, mate." Shot, bro. I'll get you the next one. There's no nastiness. There's no like, it's just, we're just, I don't know.
You are officially built different. That is a different mindset. I'm not gonna lie. I love that. And as we say, I mean, in terms of everything you've done in the community, I know you said you've worked with Pickle as well, Keegan, on bits and bobs with that. How rewarding is that? Because I imagine when you're on the field playing, you obviously get things back from that for sure. But when you're actually helping other kids, inspiring other kids, how does that feel for you?
It is just, it's obviously different to the rugby feeling, but it is like, you just feel satisfied, I think, because you know how good the game makes you feel, and if you can transfer that to like the younger generation and they can get the same enjoyment that you experience, like, you just feel satisfied, and you just hope that they'll feel the same way and they'll have the same appreciation for the game that you do.
I guess it's like a nice feeling to be able to share the game with other people.
100%.
Do you guys have plans to do coaching at some point? Post-career, teaching
100%.
somewhere?
Funny that you mentioned that. It's honestly inspiring to see the kids like take to rugby, like, because it can offer them way more than they would ever probably realise, like sort of like how it's offered us at a later age in our life, like to travel the world, whatever. But even like the things like at a young age, like you got difficulties going on at home, like if you can come to a rugby session, that's fun, you know, like that's your escape for a little bit, you know, like that's why I love doing it, for those kids that, you know, might be a little less fortunate or having a bit of hard time at home, or, you know, if I could take them away from that for an hour, then that's a win. But like, if they can just know that they've got something to hold on to in terms of like family or community or support, love, you know, like that's. So I want to start my own coaching company in terms of like young kids. So that's where my head's at the moment.
Amazing. That's
my passion.
Are there any coaches, either past or present, that have made a particular impact on you? Because you're obviously really passionate about forging a career in that area later on in life. Yeah. Is there people that stick out in your mind that you kind of still hold with you?
Ooh. I had a PE teacher at school. He was a funny character actually. He was always on me, like he always knew how to get the best out of me, because he like would always make jokes of me being injured all the time, but he knew that but like in like a banterous way, but he always knew it would get me like to go do my extra rehab sort of stuff. Oh, okay. So he's sort of one that I remember. Mr. Dunnett was his name. He's actually I think the headmaster now at Christchurch Boys High. So he was.
Have you gone back and seen him since?
No, I've not. No.
I suppose it's a bit of a long way to go to say thanks.
It's a pricey ticket as well.
That is a pricey ticket.
Maybe he'll pay for it if I email him. I say, listen to this podcast.
Exactly.
I'm coming on.
There we go. You're welcome.
Yeah, he's probably one of the ones.
Keegan, anyone that stands out for you?
I did have one coach when I was about 16, I think, and he just filled me with luck. He just made me believe more in myself and gave me a lot of confidence. And he was my third 15 coach at the time, and then he was the first 15 coach the year after, and I was in his team with him as well. And he actually coached over here for Bristol Bears and then for the Hawke's Bay Magpies. So he'd been a professional coach, but for the last 2 years of my high school, he was probably like the best coach I had. And
amazing. What was his name?
His name was Brendan Ratcliffe. Rats, we used to call him.
Rats.
Rats. He was an awesome guy and just kept rugby so simple and just basically wanted boys to believe themselves. And his big mantra was like, make good men off the field and they'll play better on the field. And like he really installed that in our first 15 team. Yeah, he was cool. He was a good guy.
God, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. But again, that kind of feels like someone who's mentoring you as a coach in terms of developing you as a rugby player, but focusing on that human element as well. And we hear that a lot, don't we, about the importance of like being a good person, giving back to the community. It's almost like that just well-rounded person as opposed to just focusing on you as players.
To be honest, it's similar in Notts actually. We have hardworking good blokes is our
Mantra, so-
Really?
yeah. That's
I love
literally
that.
like we have it on like the back of our jerseys, HWGB, and that is like the mantra of our team, and that's been installed by Craig, our head coach. Like that's if you could be good blokes, like we'll work harder for each other and hopefully play better, get better results.
absolutely
Yeah,
love
That's
that.
class.
I also love because if I saw that on
Hard
the
work,
back
good
of
blokes,
your
that's so
shirt,
good.
I'd probably be like, I wonder what that
Yeah.
stands for.
So good.
But now I know.
there
I
you
love
go.
that.
It's a good mantra to live by. I just think you can't really go wrong.
No.
Well, you don't
If you're
need
living
don't
by that.
need skill to work hard. You just
Exactly.
need like
Yeah.
desire, and
Yeah.
that's all. At the end of the day, desire and effort, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the passion as well, like
Yeah.
we said earlier, if you love the sport, if you're prepared to give your all when you're out there,
Yeah.
what more can you ask for? You've got each other's backs. Everyone's going to have a good time. Yeah, sport is a beautiful thing. It's amazing, isn't it?
And that's a beautiful place, I think, to take a break. So join us again in a bit. This episode is powered by Shoshin.
Shoshin are here for the up-and-comers, the never-giver-uppers, the risers and the fallers, fueling the journey of all athletes with quality products.
For every kick, hit, pass, Shoshin are there. Sharing your passion for nurturing athletes. Together, we can empower the next generation of athletes, one game at a time.
Ready to play. Set to improve. Shoshin.
To find out more information on Shoshin and where to purchase their amazing products, visit www.shoshin-sports.com. Welcome back to Beyond the Sport. Guys, so great to have you both with us. We're going to get stuck back into talking about more rugby chat, how amazing it is for developing you as people as well as players. And of course, we've spoken about what a massive culture it is in New Zealand. So, Keegs, we'll start with you. Do you think you were always destined to, in some capacity, be involved in rugby?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Like, just ever since I was a young fella, I just always dreamed of being like a professional rugby player, and because the All Blacks were so good, I just wanted to be an All Black sort of thing. And I dabbled in other sports. Really, I loved cricket when I was growing up, and I played for our school first 15 up until I was 18, and then I sort of prioritised rugby because I know rugby's a winter sport and cricket's obviously a summer sport, but they had a bit of a crossover, and rugby was always the one for me, so I focused more on that. But I just always dreamed of playing rugby professionally. Yeah.
I've got to ask about the cricket. What were you, all-rounder?
I was a bowling all-rounder.
Really?
Actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
This guy does it all.
Yeah.
I loved it.
that.
Cricket was. I got introduced to cricket probably a little bit when I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
And I loved it. Just the summer sports. My old man hated it.
Really?
He just hated it because on the weekends I would play Saturday and Sunday cricket. You'd play like school cricket on a Saturday, club on a Sunday, and it would just take up all weekend in the summer. And he wanted to be
And
out.
it's not a quick game, is
No,
it? It's
exactly.
not a quick sport.
All day, and he'd want to be out fishing or doing other things. But I love cricket, and I played it for years.
Do you ever get down to Trent Bridge?
No, but because I've only been here for about 4 or 5 months. But
So this
on
summer?
in the summer, I want to go to the England South Africa T20. Actually, that'd be cool.
Do you know,
that'd
I
be
think
good.
I'm working on it, so I will see you
yeah.
there. Come on down.
That's good tickets.
Yeah, she'll sort you out.
Trent Bridge is an unbelievable place to go and watch sport. I mean, we said it earlier about Nottingham being a special place for sport. We didn't mention the cricket. I mean, Trent Bridge is lively. That is a fun place
The
to go.
Trent Bridge Inn is lively as well.
You know all about that.
That's one of our locals. Actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that.
that's a cool setup.
Well,
there,
hey,
yeah.
I'll see you there
Yeah,
this summer.
absolutely,
Looking
yeah.
forward to that.
Pickle, was it the same for you growing up then with rugby?
Yeah, 100%. Like I always knew I was destined to continue with rugby at some sort of capacity. I basically first found rugby when I first moved to New Zealand and went to school and didn't really know anybody, and then I made friends with one of the boys there who ended up being my best friend basically, and he ended up taking me down to the rugby club down the road and sort of getting me involved that way. And said, but he was like 2 years older than me, so I couldn't actually play on his team, which is a bit guttering, but got to play in like a different age group, and then we literally just played rugby for most of our childhood, and then I just took off from there. Like I wouldn't even have known rugby if it wasn't for him. So he was that one.
What was his name?
His name was Adam.
Shout out Adam. A lot of people to shout out today, aren't there?
You obviously want to shout
I just
out.
like shouting out people that deserve their flowers,
Totally.
as it's known.
Absolutely, for sure.
So, guys, talking about rugby in New Zealand, can you tell us a bit about the process of learning the haka? We know how an important part that is of New Zealand sport. Is it something you're taught from a young age? Is it something that everyone learns?
Yeah, it is sort of. You are taught it like fairly young. You'll probably more in high school, I think. Oh, high school around like 12, 13, when you're really sort of introduced to it. And at high school, like the first 15 rugby teams, they have a haka, and the whole school has a haka. Like at my school in Napier, we had a whole school haka. And when year 13, when the prefects get elected, which are like the school leaders, the whole school would do the haka to them.
Wow.
Like you'd have like 1,000. I was at all boys school. You'd have 1,000 boys doing the haka to those 15 or so school leaders.
That's
It's
quite a special moment.
Oh yeah, it's really special. It's an amazing thing, and it's it's cool. It's just I'm Māori, and I'm proud to be Māori, and that's part of our heritage and our culture, and it is a very special thing. Yeah.
I guess there's a pride attached to it, isn't there?
100%, yeah. I remember watching, like, obviously the All Blacks do it when I was really young, and then you'd be in front of the TV, like, you mimic it, you know, like, that's sort of when you get your first sort of taste of it. But, wish I had Māori blood in me, but I don't. I grew up with a Māori family, luckily, because Adam was Māori, so I grew up around that, and it was honestly one of the most special things, like, just that family, that culture is the best in the world, it really is.
And actually, a word we've mentioned a lot is passion, and I don't think it gets more passionate than the haka. Like, it's you feel it. You feel that coming from the All Blacks, for example, is the only example I've seen in real life. But it's phenomenal. It's literally lifts the hairs on the back of your neck. It's incredible.
They stopped the All Blacks, or they stopped them from like progressing the haka in terms of like coming up to the opposition. But in high school, first 15, like you're literally nose to nose.
Wow.
You get that. It's honestly one of the
Or you'd even there's some teams, one team would start and then get halfway through, and they'd have a break, and then the other team would start theirs, and you sort of go, and it was almost like a battle. Like it's just such a special thing, and it's like lift the hairs on the back of your neck.
But there must be, again, like we said it before, like a respect attached to it.
Oh,
there's a chance to respect your opposition before you go to battle.
Yeah, it is. It's like a war cry sort of thing, but it is like a sign of respect to your enemy in a sense.
Ready for battle.
As you prepare for battle.
I love that.
It is. It's an amazing
So good.
thing.
You want one now?
Yeah. Honestly, I would absolutely love that. Come on, look, we got the cameras here. Why don't you give us a little taste?
When we finish top 4, we'll do.
All right.
We'll get all the Kiwis.
Yeah.
You know what?
The Kiwis in.
Listen, Pickle.
Yeah.
This is on camera, so we heard it here first. Pickle is coming back
That's documented now.
with the rest of the team, and we're going to see
Oh,
the haka. All right.
team.
It's happening.
Top
We're
four.
manifesting it. Top 4.
Love
We're
that.
coming for you. Would love to talk to you guys a bit more about school life. I know it's something we've touched on a little bit, but kind of homing in on PE specifically and what that was like for you in New Zealand. And I suppose now you're here in the UK, and I know obviously your early years were spent here, but how are they different, or are they different at all?
Trying to think back to school and PE classes, eh? They were...
Yeah, like PE was, even when you're at primary school, there wasn't necessarily a designated PE, but there would always be probably maybe 1 or 2 blocks in the day where the teachers would take you outside and you'd do some sort of physical activity, whether it be like rugby or even football or cricket. Like you would go out for 30 minutes at a time just to get out of the classroom and be outside running around in bare feet sort of thing. And progress into high school, and high school PE was compulsory for the first 3 years. But we would just play games and like just loads of ball sports, and even we would do like triathlons and stuff as part of PE. Yeah, like running, cycling, swimming.
Wow.
Because most of schools have pools, so in the summer you'd be in the pool doing swimming and stuff. And
I feel like that's quite intense, isn't it? I feel like
Yeah, I thought we did a bit
In
of
a
cross,
positive
did a bit of
way.
cross country, and that was about it.
Yeah.
And most people just tried to get out of that somehow. Bit of rounders, yeah.
Some of it was brutal though. Like we would have, like in a good way, but you'd have, like as you're part of one of your PE assessments was like the triathlon. So and you would be trying to do it in a certain time to get a higher mark or whatever. Like, like it was competitive still.
Wow.
I remember another option at school was there's a thing called outdoor pursuits. So I think
Okay.
it was year 12, year 13. Did you have that at your school?
No.
So literally, you could go kayaking. Like you'd train in the pool
Wow.
kayaking, and then they'd take you on like a actual kayaking
Wow.
trip.
That's mad.
That was one of them. I remember doing even playing golf. Like we had like a golf
wow.
assessments and stuff. Like, there was heaps of options, but like it was. I feel like we had lots of
We were
stuff.
just
on.
immersed in so many
So much
sports.
sport,
over
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't just, it was
So true.
everything, loads of sport.
But then that exposure is so key, isn't it? Because I know rugby clearly is such a massive sport in New Zealand, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just giving kids the opportunity to play the sports, and then from there you can kind of
Make your
focus on what it is you really enjoy. But I think that's the key, isn't it?
I think you don't know what you like until you're exposed to it.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
you're given the
completely agree.
opportunity, I might ask you guys in a minute about any other opportunities that at that time. Can I tell you really quickly about how I didn't get into rugby at
Go
school?
on,
Yeah,
tell
so-
us.
And actually, it's a really opposite experience, because when I was growing up, it was like you're going to either do rugby or football during winter, I think, and that was it. No other options. And I was very much a football kid. And I didn't feel like I was built for rugby. I didn't really have a connection to it. And it's like 11, 12, 13. So the size of the kids really varied. I was quite a small kid. There were some big kids, and they were really good at rugby. So I worked out that it wasn't for me, and I didn't want to get battered every lesson. So I worked out if I stood on the side, on the wing, every time the ball came to me, I just pretended to drop it. Oh no! Sorry guys, sorry. And then run off, and then eventually the ball stopped coming to me.
Oh, I'm
And
kind of not
that was my
surprised.
tactic, and it worked.
Oh,
But I wish I'd had a more positive experience of playing rugby at school.
yeah,
It was just, it
that's
wasn't.
sad to hear.
Yeah, there isn't really a question attached to that, I don't think.
That is a shame, though. But if you were in my team, I would have been mate, off to the side after.
Yeah.
So you're done for the day.
No, but it's you're right. Maybe if you were exposed to it at a younger age, you
I
would
think
have
so.
had
Yeah.
a more positive experience.
Or maybe maybe it's like the positivity lens of it, maybe if it had been more like, these are the reasons rugby can benefit you, but it was more like, we're talking about the 90s, I'm very old, there's a different era. It was more like, you're doing this and there's no...
Yeah, I get that. Or maybe we just accept rugby wasn't your thing.
Probably
Hey.
also wasn't. Look at me.
It's not for all of us. Okay, well, yeah, it's something that I wanted to talk to you guys actually when we were off air, but we thought we'd save it for the podcast. You've obviously mentioned your love for cricket. Pickle, was there any sports that you were tempted to explore?
I actually did give cricket a go, but it just wasn't for me. Like, I could never bowl the ball straight, or I hated standing out on the field, and my batting was just so sporadic. So I sort of gave that up in the first couple of weeks. My rugby coach was also the cricket coach, under 8s or 9s.
Yeah.
So he'd actually take me during cricket season. He'd take me along, and it just wasn't for me. But I've tried volleyball at school. I enjoyed
Nice.
volleyball. Didn't stick at it because rugby was just too much of a priority. Dabbled in a little bit of touch rugby, but. Nah, I wanted to get into lawn bowls. We did a lawn bowls
Really?
course at school, and that was actually really fun. Yeah,
I've
so
always thought
I
about
wanted
getting
to
into
get
that
into
as well. I think I'm about 30 years too young.
That's an awesome sport.
Yeah.
But can I also just say the gulf between rugby and lawn bowls is so significant. I kind of can't put the two together, but I'm loving that
Random.
What
you...
skills? There's hand-eye coordination. I guess that's
Yeah, you
a
gotta have,
skill that...
I guess that. I don't know what.
Technique.
Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah.
Call it what you will. I love that you enjoy it.
Yeah,
Maybe a bit of
therapeutic.
relaxation time.
Focus. I guess there's real
Focus,
focus
yeah.
going on.
I love that.
Community, I guess. Hanging out with Vera
Yeah.
and all her friends. Who knows?
Guys, if you could speak to every PE teacher in the UK, what words of encouragement would you give them to empower young children and help encourage them to make a positive impression on their students?
Ooh, what a question.
Yeah, that's a deep question.
What advice would I give them to empower? I'd say give everybody a chance, give even the ones that seem not interested in it, just continue to be positive, be a positive influence on them. whatever you're delivering or whatever session it is, make it the most fun, make it the most enjoyable session that kids ever had. Like that needs to be your mentality. I know it's obviously hard with the grind and the daily grind of being a PE teacher or any teacher or coach, but if your sessions are planned with fun, energy, like love, like as corny as that sounds, like you gotta love it, but like those kids will feed off that, because energy is contagious. That's the word I was looking for.
100%.
And that can go to one or two ways, like positive, bad. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, I fully agree with Pickle, and I just think that not every sport is for every child, you know, like
As we've learned.
Yeah, exactly. So like they're gonna love different sports, but I think just exposing them to different sports and, like Pickle said, just making it fun. I think sport is just so fun, and I think that's just the key. And I think you just gotta keep encouraging them to stay in sport and try new things, and that it's like a safe space to where we can fail, and shouldn't be scared, shouldn't be afraid to fail, and like you learn from failing. And I think that's been part of my career, is you just learn from your mistakes, and the only way you can learn is by making mistakes.
I think that's so true. Like making it a safe space, but also learning from. I mean, everyone fails. We all make mistakes. Like that's how you learn. Are there any sort of tough lessons that you've had in your role as a community coach that you've learnt from, that's maybe given you sort of more empathy towards the kids you're teaching, or anything like that? Any lessons that have really stuck with you? Any moments?
Any moments that stuck with me? I mean, it's hard to cater for everybody, isn't it? But you're not always going to please everybody. You know, it's a really hard thing to say and sort of feel. But as long as like your intentions and what you're set out to do, it was to benefit the person you're coaching, or the child that you're coaching, or anybody in that nature. Like that's what the most important thing is. So I guess not being so hard on myself, I guess, as a coach, or you know, always, like Keegan says, learning from those mistakes. But yeah, that's a really good question.
Oh, thank you.
It's a really good question. Good reflection.
We're going to go even deeper now.
Go.
That's a good answer.
I don't know if I answered it.
If you could go back and talk to 10-year-old Keegan, 10-year-old Pickle, what would you say to them to, I suppose, fill them with the confidence to believe that everything's going to work out?
I would say probably just continue to believe in myself and just to work hard. I think, yeah, that's probably it. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, and like there's going to be obstacles along the way, but just keep getting back up and just believe in your abilities. I think that's what I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. I would be. Hey, you make me cry. Nah, I'd be similar.
I mean, I don't know about 10-year-old
10-year-old Pickle. Wow, what are you saying, young man? Listen here, boy. Nah, I'd say, yeah, don't give up. As long as you stay true to yourself and you know you got a good heart, so just keep doing your best. If you're going to miss the bus, miss it running, like Joe Wick said the other day. So that would be my bit of advice. Just keep going.
I love that.
I always feel so inspired whenever we do a podcast.
Same.
So thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. It's been such a joy to have you both with us on Beyond the Sport. Thank you for talking to us.
Yeah, keep smashing it on and off the pitch, lads.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute joy talking to you. Tell us a bit about how our viewers can find out more about Nottingham Rugby and the things you guys do.
Yeah, well, I guess the easiest thing is to come on down to a game. So we play in West Bridgeford, Lady Bay, 1 Homer Road. You can go on our website. We got Instagram as well. We got Twitter. What else? We got Facebook.
Yeah.
Just come on down. We usually play Friday nights. We've got the occasional Sunday. I think we've got a Sunday game this season, but our season runs up until the end of May. So we've got plenty of time now. We're going really well this season. We're sitting 4th at the moment. One of the best runs we've ever had. So if we can just keep building this momentum, get as many people down, many new people as well. If you've not experienced it before, we're very inclusive and we love new people coming down to having a bit of fun watching the boys play some rugby.
Love that. Now's the time to come.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we can't wait to see you back for the Hacker very soon.
When we win.
Top 4. Let's go.